Okay, hi everybody. At this stage, I'm going to show you how to draw your keyring design in Texoft 2D Design. So it's ready to be laser cut, ready for the laser cutting the mold, which the metal will be poured into. So you first off need to open up Texoft 2D Design onto your computer. And in this case, it's you can click on STM-D&T and then find Texoft 2D Design in there. Okay. Now, I'm just going to rewind it back a little bit. When you see this little licensing option, you don't need to worry about it. Just click to one side and it'll go away. Okay. Now, the next stage is to go onto the internet and find an outline or a silhouette or a cartoon of an image or something that you'd like your keyring to be based on. So you can see here, I'm typing in football cartoon to give me a simple image. It's got to be a simple image and ideally a white background. It works much easier if it's got a white background. So you want to choose an image that you think will look good for your keyring design that you've chosen. Like I said before, you could type in football silhouette if you just want a simple black and white or an outline, a football outline. Once you find an image that you like, that you think will be good for your keyring design, like the one I'm looking at, don't copy and paste it directly from this point because the smaller image is made up of less pixels, which means when you come to put it on the 2D design and you enlarge it, it'll go all blurry. You need to click on the image to get the bigger version of the image, which is made up of more pixels, so more little squares of color. So you want the bigger version. If it doesn't let you get the bigger version, then you'll just have to search around for a better image that'd be more useful. There is ways in which you can do it by print screening on your keyboard and then cropping down in a different program like PowerPoint, and then copying and pasting it from PowerPoint into 2D design. And you can kind of get around ways in which you might struggle to get the image in the first place. Okay, now I'm going to go back a little bit. I'm going to rotate on a little bit there. So I've right click and paste, or Control V for paste. And once you do that, let's rewind it a little bit further. So in this case, I right clicked and then I clicked on paste. Okay, now I can't see the middle point where I can select it and move the image up. So I'm about to zoom out with the zoom out tool, which is just there. Okay, so if you click on the zoom out tool, and there's the middle yellow square which you click on, and then you drag it up so it fits the screen better. Now scroll down the page using the scroll options on the right, and then what I did, let's just go back a little bit. I then dragged in to make it smaller from the corner, and if you hold down the Shift key, which is the one with the arrow on underneath Enter or underneath Caps Lock, and then you can then drag up, and it will then help you shrink it down, and it stays in proportion if you hold down the Shift key. So it basically stops it from stretching or just this changing shape. So it just keeps it in proportion. Okay, now you want it just to fit on the page to start with. Now the next thing is to do is this image, as I said to you before, is made up of millions, or at least thousands, hundreds of thousands, probably little tiny squares of color, all built up to make the image up. And it's called a bitmap image. It's saved as a bitmap image. Now the laser cutter doesn't understand bitmaps, so what you need to do is you need to convert it into a vector image. Okay. Okay, in order to change it into a vector image, you need to click on bitmaps because it is a bitmap image. So I'm doing something to the bitmap image. So at the top it says bitmaps. If you click on the bitmaps option, you're looking for vectorized bitmaps, and it's at the bottom. Vectorized bitmaps, and you click on the image, and then it just works out the different colors that are on the image. Now what I'm doing is I'm going to convert it into a vector, which a vector image is not made up of pixels, it's made up of mathematical shapes and coordinates. Because when I send it to the laser cutter, I'm going to be sending thousands, if not millions, of coordinates, such as the first place to cut will be 2 down and 2 across. And the next place it will cut is 3 down, 3 across, and it just sends a load of coordinates across to the laser cutter, and that process is called CNC, which stands for Computer Pneumatic Control. So it's sending the information across the laser cutter. So I need to convert the image so the laser cutter understands it. Now, there are all the there are all the colors that make up this image. Okay. Now, it's quite complicated that, and I don't have to be messing around with all these different images, so all of these different colors. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on monochrome just to simplify the image so it's just black and white. Okay. So simplified the image. Now I'm going to change it to red, which is engraved. So a lot of this detail is going to be engraved. Most of it's going to be engraved, which just means the laser cutter will burn the surface. So when the metal is poured in, the metal will go into the little engraved sections, the little bits that have been burnt, the sections of the material that have been burnt into. So what I'm going to do is anything that is engraved is going to be red, and anything that's going to be cut is going to be black. But for now, because most of it's going to be engraved, I'm going to turn the whole thing to red, and then later I'm going to turn sections that want to be cut into black. So choose the basic red and click OK. And now I'm going to move the luminosity bar up or down for more or less detail, depending on what I think looks better. So in this case, I'm going down, and I think that is probably the way to go. So about kind of there. Then you're going to click OK. So all of these bits are going to be engraved so that I'll be able to see all the detail on my keyring. Click OK again. Now, at this stage, if you can see, it doesn't look like it's solid fill, but all these little sections here where the eyebrows are and all this, they're all solid red. Solid fill, solid red. Now, I don't want to do that because it takes a long time to engrave if I have it all solid fill. So I'm going to do is I'm going to no fill it all to start with. So I'm going to select it with the select tool, which is the little arrow one up here. When you select the object, it will then allow you to edit it and do stuff to it. Okay. And select the image. You have to click on a specific part of it, like the eyebrows. Don't just click in the middle, otherwise it won't select. Click on a specific part. Now, I need to no fill it. Now, the fill option is just up here at the top. So you click on fill, and then you click on no fill, and then OK. All right. Now, at this stage, I already vectorized it. Click on the wrong thing. Ignore that. I'm going to select it again, and then I need to explode the image to one level only. And that's very much like in other programs, they call it grouping or ungrouping. And it basically separates all the individual parts of the drawing out, so I can select the outline and change it to black because I want it to cut out the outline of it. So if I select it first with the select tool, and then I go to this option, which is the little red cross where it says explode, and then I'm going to click on explode to one level only. Click on that little option. Don't do fully to simple objects because it separates every tiny little bit out, every little curve, every little straight line. You have to do it later, but at the moment it complicates it, makes it very difficult to then change it. So just one level only and continue. Okay, now I've then just clicked on the outline, and when you've clicked on the outline it turns pink. So you know that you clicked on it because it's turned pink. And then I'm going to change the line color to black. Now I said to you that's the fill color. This one is the line color. So it's this one here where it says col. So you click on col and then change the outline to black, just the basic black, and the black I'm going to set later to cut. Okay. Now I've selected around the whole thing. So I want to shrink it all down. Now you have to select around the whole thing if you want to move it all together. The other option is you've got this option here which says select all. It's like a little pink square with an arrow, and you click on that, it selects all. So you can either drag a square around when you clicked on the select tool up here, or you can click on select all if you know you're going to select everything on the page. I'm going to shrink it down a bit and move it over. Now, the next thing to do is I need to draw a square, okay, because I need to put my design inside a square, and it's going to be like the mold that the metal's then going to pour into later. So what I've done is I've selected this tool up here, which is the shape tool, and then I'm about to select something called gridlock, and gridlock just lets it, when you draw a square, it jumps the dots, and each one of these dots is 10 millimeters apart, which is 1 centimeter. So they're all 1 centimeter. So if I'm going to draw a precise square, it's easy because it jumps the dots. You just drag down and across, and then it works out how big you want the square to be. So you can see, click and drag out. Now, the size of the square needs to be 60 millimeters by 60 millimeters. That's 6 centimeters by 6 centimeters. It's only a keyring. It only needs to be small. Now, you can just count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 across, 6 down, or at the bottom it says REL 60 by minus 60. Now 60 just means you're going across on the first one, 60 millimeters, and it says minus 60. It just means that you've drawn down the page, not up the page. So I then click once where I want it to start, and then click where I want it to finish, and then that'll draw me my square. Now I'm going to put this keyring inside this square, okay, and you'll notice in a second that I have to shrink it down so it fits, leaving a centimeter, 10 millimeters all the way around, because otherwise the mold will be too weak. So you need to make sure you leave about a centimeter all the way around. So I'm going to select this and I'm going to shrink it down. And you're going to shrink it down and then move it through the middle. It's that middle one again that allows you to move it into position. Okay, and you move it into there. Now you might find that it's jumping to the dots and it's being really annoying and it's not letting you do that. So if you click on gridlock, it'll turn gridlock off and then it'll let you move it more freely and it'll let you shrink it down more freely. But you can see I've got roughly a centimeter around the outside to make sure that the mold later is strong. Okay. Now I'm selecting the whole thing, so square and the keyring. So I'm drawing a select box all the way around the whole thing with the select tool just up here. And I'm going to copy it. So this button here is the copy button. If you click on that, it does a direct copy, and you've got to be careful then, because if you click off it, it'd be difficult to select the whole thing again, just that. So you then need to carefully click on the yellow square in the middle and then move it across. Gridlock needs to be back on at this point because you want it to stick to the dots. So if it's not, just delete it, turn gridlock on and do it again. Okay, so I've moved it across, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to delete the black part of the keyring out of this square. I'm going to delete the red out of the keyring out of this square. So what it's going to do is it's going to cut out this bit, which is black, and it's going to engrave on this one. Okay, and it becomes a bit clearer later on as to why you do that. But basically, you want the metal to pour into this one and fill up the whole shape, and then you want the metal to pour into just the little burnt out sections on this section, and these can perfectly be aligned later. You have a look at this. So I'm going to zoom in with the zoom in tool and drag it across. And I'm going to delete all the, so you can see I've selected this one here, which is del any, and then I clicked on the black outline first, and now I'm going to go and delete all the red bits inside this section here. There is a faster way of doing this. If you've got a lot to delete, you can select the whole thing and then hold down the Shift key and then just click on the outline, and it will deselect just the outline. And it just means everything that's red will be selected, and you can just press delete on the keyboard and the whole thing will be deleted much faster. This is just the more simple way if you're a bit stuck on that bit. You got to be careful not to delete the outline. Okay. So say the metal is going to pour into this one, and then I'm going to put this one behind it, and it's going to go into the little gaps afterwards. Now the next thing is to draw another square 60 by 60, and basically this one's just like a stopper. It will stop the metal from coming out the back or the front, or probably just the front of the keyring. So you have to put 3 of them together like a sandwich, and the metal's going to pour into this one. In order for the metal to get in though, I'm going to need a funnel, and a funnel is just like a V shape that's going to be going into this, and you'll see it in a second. It needs to be about 10 millimeters wide, 1 centimeter wide at the top, and about 0.5 centimeter when it's going into the keyring, so it's got enough room for the metal to go into it. And what you do is you click on the line tool, which is just this one here. I turn off grid lock because it gets in the way when you're trying to do it. So turn off grid lock, and then what you're going to do is you're just going to then draw a line at an angle going in, and a line at the top here going in, and that's that. And finally, really need to do this, but just to tidy up the funnel, just to make it look a bit neater, if you click on the del any, click and hold on the del any, you'll see this one appear. It's delete intersection parts between 2 lines. Any lines that are overlapping, it deletes any overlapping sections, and it's that second one along. And you can just tidy up the drawing a bit, just so it looks a bit neater. Okay, and that is it done. So the metal's going to pour into this one. Then metal's going to pour into these little bits that are just burnt onto the surface, and this one's just going to stop the metal from pouring out. Okay, I'm just going to save it into the shared area, down to Design Technology, Mr. Smith Collaborative, not that one, Mr. Smith Collaborative, there it is. And then I've got it as 2019 in term 2, and then you can just save it with your name on it in your area or whatever, whichever area is you've been told to save it into. Okay. So I've named it what it is. You can either just put your name on it, and then I'll just print out your design, or you can name it something if you want to. Probably better just your name. All right. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.